Welcome, welcome to the Black Girl Scene podcast, where we talk all things feeling seen, known, and loved. I'm your host, Kaylin Wilson, and today we have a juicy topic for you. I have a special guest here with me to explore what it feels like to be seen in your body. We'll be tackling several topics. We'll be talking about repairing our relationship with our bodies, what radical body care looks like, how to build a sustainable relationship with things like food and fuel and movement, body transitions over time, and ultimately how to empower the most loving versions of ourselves. And to do this, I'm excited to have my friend and colleague, Herani Argoe, licensed professional counselor, here with me, and I'm going to introduce her. Herani Argoe is a trauma and body image therapist, speaker, and mom who shares wisdom and clinical expertise on mental health therapy conversations and realistic mom and family life, both in the therapy room and online. She aims to show up as a real human, discussing body image, especially for women, while also sharing the messy, beautiful parts of motherhood and partnership. Her work centers on healing from trauma outside of what the world says you should be or look like, with a lot of honesty and compassion. Welcome to the show, Herani.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I feel like we're gonna have some good conversations today.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And thank you so much for being here. Like, I'm so excited to talk. I met Herani
Yes.
at the BIPOC Eating Disorder Conference, and I was just like in absolute love with her presentation because, to the point of this podcast, it was like the first time I heard a presentation about eating disorder work, and it didn't feel like Black women were kind of like thrown in at the end.
Oh my gosh. Yes, like we were actually a part of it, like it was
Right,
for us.
right.
Yes. So I forgot we met there. I feel like we just been,
Mhm.
it's
I
been a
know.
while.
I
So
know. I
yeah.
know.
Oh, so exciting.
Yes. So let's start off with one of my favorite questions. And
Okay.
this could be a great place to tell us more about yourself if you'd like.
Sure.
How are you allowing yourself to be seen in this season of your life?
We jumping in. I love it. I love it. Okay, so like you mentioned in that, thank you for my introduction too. I really
Yeah.
appreciated it. So yeah,
Yes.
how am I allowing myself to be seen in this season of life? So sometimes being seen can feel really vulnerable. And I think that because I'm a therapist, of course I hold many roles, but as a therapist, we just walk through so many things with people and help other people feel seen so often. It's such an honor to do so that sometimes I'm like, okay, my turn, and sometimes that switch I feel like, I feel like as therapists, we
Yep.
can resonate with this, but
Oh,
sometimes
yeah.
that switch can feel really vulnerable. Like, oh, is it my turn to be taken care of and be seen? So I
Mhm.
will say, if I'm keeping it real, I really aim to be realistic and keep it real. So I'm keeping it real. That is, I would say, challenging for me in this season because I'm in a season of where I'm trying to make sure everybody's taken care of. I have my clients. I have an 8-month-old son.
Mhm.
I'm trying to figure out how to show up best for myself, but also, you know, for them. So, but I would say I'm allowing myself to be seen by being open about that.
Yeah.
So, being open with the people closest to me, whether that's like my husband, my friends, trying to, I'm trying to continuously put myself in social situations and not
Yeah.
isolate. So those are one. And then I'm trying to incorporate things for myself that have nothing that just I'm able to be Harani. And I'm figuring out what that looks like. You know, I'm sure we'll talk more about that, but those are some ways I'm attempting to help myself be seen. It's not easy though. Like
Mm.
everyone wants to be seen, but do we, sometimes it's like, do I? you know?
Bingo. Like,
Yeah.
actually,
Yes.
like that's so, and that's so beautiful. I hope that you continue to lean into that because you absolutely deserve to be cared for. And that is what inspired this as a full platform and why I wanted to zero in on just this part, because it hit me one day that like being seen is not a passive process at all. It is not that you just kind of show up in a
Absolutely.
space and then people are like, oh, look at you, right? Like, it's just not like that. You have to allow, you have to show up in it. And so, and it's not easy at all. In fact,
At
it does
all.
not always feel comfortable.
No, it don't feel comfortable. It doesn't feel natural sometimes,
Yeah.
especially as Black women. I think
Hmm.
there's a lot of messaging and learned
Mhm.
information that we've taken in that, being seen can equal X, Y, and Z. And,
Right.
yeah, so I love that
Right.
question, and it really asked me to slow down and think about it, you know?
Mhm. 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 Absolutely. And I think that's what we're even gonna be talking about. I do think that a lot of us maybe have varied relationships to these topics, but I don't know how much space we give to it for real. So I'm excited to dive in. And so here we are. You specialize in the areas of body image and eating disordered and or disordered eating. In your
Mhm.
work, what do you call it? Because I think the same way that our bodies do, there's been a lot of different movements around bodies, whether it's body
Yes.
acceptance, body care, body love, body liberation. So tell
A
us a little bit
name for
more.
everything.
Right.
Mhm.
What do you call it? And tell us a little bit about why that resonates with you in your work.
Sure, yeah, so I think it depends on, who I'm working with and what they feel comfortable calling it. I can tell you what I stay a little bit away from. So it depends. In my work, I don't use a ton of body positivity language, more so talk body acceptance or even just body neutrality. And we can talk a little bit
Mhm,
of what those things look like. But in my advocacy, education, different ways of communicating with my community online, I may sprinkle some body positivity in or, a little hashtag here and there just because it's something that people are familiar with.
mhm,
But in practice, I think being positive about our bodies can be a way of it's not a bad thing, but, like, sometimes people can think, "Oh, well, like, I'm not positive about my body, so where does that leave me?" Like, it
mhm.
it can give a little how people use the term, like, toxic positivity? I'm using
Yes.
air quotes, and that's a lot, but
Yes.
so sometimes it can give that. So I like to use some other things that allow people to show up in the space
Mhm.
exactly how they are. They can come as they are. I'm really big about that. Come as you are with whatever you're feeling towards yourself and it's welcome here, whether it's positive, negative, indifferent, you know? So with that being, with all of that, I do use some body neutrality language of showing up neutral towards our bodies, just being
Right.
able to be. Depending on the situation, I might use some body acceptance.
Mhm,
And body acceptance does not mean we have to love it, just, accepting that this
mhm.
is our body today.
Yeah.
This is the body we have today. What does it need? How can I respect it and nourish it? So I tend to lean towards those that language of come as you are, neutral,
Yeah.
accepting. If we want to sprinkle some self love, body love in there, I'm all for it. But
Right.
everybody's not ready for that. So that's kind of how I see it. But I'm curious,
Mhm,
Kaylin, like what you think.
mhm,
How do you see it? Are you familiar with some of those terms? Like, I wanna know kind
mhm.
of on the other side what you're thinking.
Yeah. I will retweet you. Same with, body positivity. Also because that movement wasn't built around us, it wasn't built around Black women's bodies, women of
Period.
color's bodies, things of that nature. If you wanna learn more about that, I recommend The Body Liberation Project by Chrissy King. Love, 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 love it. And as I say body acceptance, I also err on the side of body care. So, like, how you
Mm,
show up for your body in spite of how you feel. Because I'm with you on, like, you just may not like it every day. You
yeah.
loving the body can be big. It feeling liberated in the body. To me, that's my goal. That's the praxis. But getting there, oof, what a journey. So I tend to use acceptance and then body care. So I'm right there. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
And
It's
yeah.
sound very aligned, and I feel like that feels
Mhm.
safer too, like,
Mhm.
just meets us where we are?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And speaking of meeting us where we are, I what the heck made you do this work? Right? Like, I'm so curious about your journey to this work.
Yeah.
And I imagine it's something you can probably express some information about your
Of
journey
course.
with it.
Of course, yeah, I'm pretty open. I think it's important for us to talk about, especially as Black women, because I think
Mhm.
that so many of us are have struggles, if not current or past or both, with the relationship with our body and with food, including myself. So I
Mhm.
will say I've definitely done a lot of work around it. especially being in this space where I walk with people through that, type of healing.
Mhm.
But I would say that I definitely have my own healing relationship with my body and food journey. I could say that I dabbled in some disordered eating patterns and thoughts, at least for, a part of my life, whether I knew that's what was happening or not.
Right,
Because I think
right.
disordered eating can be masked as healthy. It can be,
Mhm.
wellness, going on different diets. I think that there was a season where if you're not on a diet, it was like, why are you not on a diet? You know what
Exactly.
I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that was weird to people to not
Mhm.
be, cutting calories in some way or, trying to work on your body or whatever. And so I've
Mhm.
definitely had my fair share of feeling like my body wasn't good enough. I needed to shrink.
Mhm. Yep.
And I spent so half of my life, majority honestly, of like just always thinking about my body. I won't say
Yeah.
always, maybe that's not the right word, but it being at least once a day, like, okay, do I need to eat this? Demonizing food, right? Saying this food is bad or I'm bad because I ate this.
Yep.
So my journey is definitely there. And I think once I realized, Halen, like that it didn't have to be that way, my mind
Mhm.
was blown. To
Yeah.
me, there was no other way than just always trying to be small.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as small is so who is, it's I say small in air quotes because it's like
Exactly.
who is actually the people are small sometimes don't think they're small. And then it's
Right.
like, what is it ever gonna be good enough? Okay, I lost this
Right.
much weight. Is it
Right.
gonna be
Because
good
like,
enough?
why is small the standard? What is small? What's the all
Correct.
of that. Yeah. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, or skinny.
Mhm.
Once I realized, oh, it doesn't have to be this way, and I started doing my own work, and I started learning that, like, health can come in different sizes, and then I started learning that some of my experiences around food growing up,
Mhm.
and the way that food and my body were put on display, like, just sharing something personally, I grew up in a household where my body was definitely a conversation
Mhm.
where it was, "Hey, should you be eating that?" Or, "You're gaining weight, you need to be doing this." But then on the other hand, you
Mhm.
need to finish your plate. I was like, "Okay, can we pick
Right.
one?" Like,
Exactly.
like, hello.
Exactly. Yes.
Um, so, um, just even thinking back on how that making comments about children's bodies, how that affects like, shaped my view around food
Mhm.
and body very early on and started thinking
Mhm.
about how I needed to be smaller very
Mhm.
early. And that is
Mhm.
a lot of people's stories, especially I feel like in the Black community.
Yep.
It's like whenever you're greeted at the door, and I won't talk about everybody's experience, but there are family gatherings. I come in and it's like, oh, have you lost weight? Or like, oh, so you won't eat all that? Or oh, you gained
Mhm.
some weight. Hello,
Mhm.
how are you? How
Mhm.
was your week? You know,
Exactly.
can we can we have another greeting? So, all that
Right.
to say, I definitely have my own journey, and that's why I'm
Yeah.
so passionate about helping women heal from what
Mhm.
the world has said about them and what they've experienced and how they should look, because we're going through it. So many of us, especially as Black
Yeah.
women, have so much
Mhm.
pressure on our bodies. I'm talking about
Right.
from head to toe, hair,
Yes.
body,
Yep.
skin, everything.
Skin, all of it,
Yeah. So that's kind
always.
of my experience.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, and I'm so confident that so many people listening, including me, resonate. Like, it's been a
Mhm.
thing, and I don't and we don't always, like, register it as a very specific experience that deserves attention. I think sometimes it gets filed away with just not feeling great about yourself or the ways people treat you, and then that's it, and I don't think we realize how painful it can be for some of us, and then some of us know exactly how painful it can be, and I'm right there with you that there's so many things that as I was, like, literally learning about eating disorders and disordered eating in school, I was like, "Oh, why'd they put that there?
Yeah.
That's pathology? That was something that we just used to do that," so
You know what I'm
so
saying?
much
Exactly.
so much,
Like
uncomfortable illumination, in school, and I was an
absolutely.
athlete growing up. I was a cheerleader. I
Mm,
still work with athletes, so that's a lot of where my, food and body work shows up, most of it, and it's like being under a microscope. It's
yes.
it's just it's a whole nother beast. So anyone who was an athlete or is still in a space like that, I really see you.
I I love that you mentioned that because that is especially for Black athletes, and
Mhm.
I wanna say I was an athlete, but, I did a little church league here and there. I ain't really, but it's like a running joke
That
in my
counts.
family. I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I play basketball," and they're like, "Girl, you played rec league," and I'm like, "Okay, but I played.
That counts, that
Hello,
counts.
I played rec." But I do work with a lot of athletes now, and then relationship with,
Mhm,
like, exercise and movement is, like, a whole other
mhm,
topic, which if we have time to play, we can talk about. But I will never forget I had a client that, like, I've worked with a lot of collegiate
mhm,
athletes.
mhm.
I've even worked with some Olympic athletes, like,
Yeah,
the level of pressure, and I'll never forget I worked
yes.
with one person that was a swimmer,
Mhm,
and we were talking about body, and I'll never forget what they said to me. They were like, "Hirani, my body is literally my uniform. I have no
mhm,
choice. I have no choice
mhm,
how I when they see me, they see my worth, and if how I show up, my body tells them that I'm good enough. So, like,
mhm.
this disorder stuff I'm doing, I mean, they had a full-blown the eating
Yeah,
disorder, the one
yeah.
of I don't have a choice, and so, like, wow,
Mhm.
you
Mhm,
know?
mhm.
Like, to feel like there's no choice but to control how your body looks or else you're not worthy, we can
Yeah,
resonate, you know? So I want you to finish what you were saying, but yeah, the athletes I have a really big heart for, and, especially
yeah.
Black athletes.
Mhm. And I think but no, that's such a good point because it stays with you. I know you just joked about like, "Oh, I just did rec league," but so many of us
Yeah,
participated in some form of activity as kids, especially before
absolutely.
iPads and all that. No offense to the iPad generation.
Girl, no, but I'm with you.
Outside of that, like, we did something and we were performers and not just in a sport or an activity or in the arts, in the classroom, in the homes, and then we grew up and then we became performances in
Mhm.
our romantic relationships and even in our friendships, and now we're performers on the job, like, we're constantly being seen through this actual like you said, like, that's just so powerful to me and it's so honest. It's so
It's so
honest.
honest. Yeah.
And I recognize that that is why it has become and can become really, really challenging to divorce the expectations of what your body should look like and like actually being able to show up for your body, that how separate those are, but they get smashed together all the time.
100%. Yeah, they do, and
Mm,
with our they get smashed together, and it becomes our self-esteem, our self-worth,
mhm.
and whether people are talking about it or not, they're thinking about how their bodies look, and to the point where, not going to different events, not participating in life, hiding. Our whole thing talking about being seen, right? Making sure that they're not seen because they don't feel like their body's worthy enough to be seen, like, heartbreaking. So hard, and we get it. I've been there, you know?
Actually, can you tell us more about that? Like, tell us more about like we've touched on some pieces, family experiences, what you did as
Mhm.
children, but can you walk us through like your take on why it is such a struggle to be seen in in the body as a Black woman specifically?
Yeah. Well, I think our current society is very unique in, where
Mhm.
there's GLP-1s slash Ozempic, like, on the scene, and I think that that is more than just a medication. I also wanna say I'm not completely against, like, this is not necessarily to talk about the medication. This is the reason I bring it up is to talk about what the culture is currently looking like.
Right.
And I think that there's just an enormous amount of pressure,
Mhm.
especially around Black women, of how we show up in a space in order and the thoughts of, okay, how I show up in this space may determine if I'm accepted or not,
Right.
if it's
Yeah.
safe for me a lot. I talk a lot with my clients and just people in general about safety. And it's not only physical safety. Physical safety is so important, of course, but nervous system safety and emotional
Mhm.
safety. And to truly feel safe, I believe to feel seen, there has to be a certain level of safety present,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
So to truly feel seen, whether you feel completely safe, you're not going to really feel seen by someone that there's some type of safety or trust, right?
Mhm.
And so the safety that comes with, okay, I'm allowed to show up in this way. My body is safe. This is a safe place. Doesn't always happen, especially for Black women. Like, where are those opportunities? And I feel like sometimes we have to create them and it's exhausting, and just understanding, okay, if I walk into this room where I'm with these people, is this safe for me? And can I show up in my body that doesn't feel quote unquote perfect, right? Or, maybe someone's thinking I've gained some weight and I don't want to go to this gathering. Whether they think, oh, it's not safe for me or not, a lot of times our nervous system is feeling like, okay, well, I won't be accepted. I'm not going to be safe. They're going to be thinking about what I look like, or even if no one's thinking that I don't like how I look. And so it's then, therefore, it's not safe to be. So I feel like just safety really comes up for me with that and how difficult it can be to feel safe when the world tells you that your body's not safe, it's not okay, it needs to change. And then it's always like, then what do we get to? Change to what? I mean, what is the standard?
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I just love all these questions. Like, I just want to retweet everything that you're saying
Yes, please do.
because the standards also keep changing. Because once upon a
Right.
time, it was stick figure, and then it was, then people they were getting BBLs, and then they got rid of their BBLs because they can be stick figures again, right? Like, it's just
Yes.
always changing and shifting. The bar is literally always moving. Ugh,
Yeah. How can we keep up?
mm, can't.
How can we keep up? We can't. And then shame comes in,
Mhm.
right? Like, so you can't keep up. There's an impossible environment. The situation has been set up and the society has been set up for failure. But yet we think we failed when we're not the ones changing. We're not the ones changing the standard. But then all of a sudden the failure and the shame comes on ourselves. And it's like such a heavy weight on top of everything else. It's
Yeah.
scary, such a heavy weight.
Yeah. I mean, it's the irony too of like feeling like you're carrying a literal weight when you're
Literal weight.
compared to how you feel in your body. And then it also, I think it invites some pieces about food and movement too, right? So then I think a
Hmm.
lot of how we feel about the body gets externalized into how we then show up for the body. Can you tell us more about what that can end up looking like, right? How we end up
Yeah.
showing up with those parts of our life.
Absolutely. I feel like I love talking about food because
Mhm.
first off, I love food.
Yes.
I am a foodie. I enjoy trying different restaurants and I
Mhm.
love, food is a big part of culture. I say that along with I tell my clients when disorder eating or eating disorders are present, it is one of the hardest things to
Mhm.
manage, one of the hardest recoveries or healing to walk
Yes.
because food is everywhere. Your body lives with you. You are not escaping having to eat, whether you try to or not, and I'm not recommending that. But you are not escaping having to try to eat. You are not escaping your body. You live with it every single day, right? And so, not to compare it to any other types of healing or, but I always, tell people like I always use the example of maybe healing from a type of addiction or of some sort. You can potentially stay away from a bar, and I want to be very clear. Everything comes with its challenges, right? It's very difficult. It's very difficult. But some of the things that we like, okay, so like how can we have some accountability but when you struggle with food in your body, it's every day. And so I just have so much
Right.
compassion because
Mhm.
especially because I have clients who will be like, honey, I actually enjoy food, but yet it feels like my enemy.
Yeah. Mhm.
And that,
Mhm.
having both. So I think it can show up in just first off, we look at, the history of food and how growing up, our family dynamics, our culture, how food and exercise has shown up for us. But also, I think a lot of women will feel a lot of guilt and shame and associated with
Mhm.
eating. So, I mean,
Yes.
Kaylin, you tell me how many times have you heard people say like, "Oh, I got to burn this off," or I was so bad today, like I was cheating, cheat meal, like
Literally. Literally,
all the time,
absolutely every day.
Yeah,
Absolutely every day.
every
Because
day.
it opens up another conversation that we probably don't have time for, which is being someone who's moved through your journey with food and movement, and then you work with people who are doing it. and constantly being inundated with it.
Yes. That might be part 2. We might have to
Maybe part two.
we might need a part 2 for that. And, like, I really believe that people have body autonomy and can do whatever
Hmm.
they want with their bodies. Like,
That's
I have
right.
clients who are on GLP-1s, you know, and I wanna be clear, GLP-1, I know everybody may not that's just the name of the medication for, like, Ozempic and Mounjaro and things like that. So and guess what? I respect their autonomy because they're adults and they can do and I get the pressure. And I also know that there's that medication is helping people with but it's also being abused, right? And so I there is no judgment coming from us at all for both of us. I think I can speak for both. Never any judgment, but more so compassion and care and like wanting differently for our people
Yes.
of like food does not have to be the enemy, but no, a lot of us have not learned how to listen to our bodies and eat intuitively. We have not learned that food is not evil, you know, or that sugar isn't evil or carbs aren't evil when we our bodies literally need them to survive,
Quite literally. Quite
quite
literally.
literally. Like that, you know, going on certain diets and
Mhm.
cutting calories to a certain extent can be really dangerous, right? A lot of this language and conversation is not out there for us, especially. So I love empowering the Black community and especially women of like, hey, there is another way. And with that, it's a healthy way too. You know, I think sometimes when people think of, oh, you have a relationship with food, so you eat whatever you want. Well, yes, I am eating what I want, but at the same time, I'm taking care of my body. This is my vessel, and it's very important to me to take care of it. And so, like, how can health but healing coexist in a way that looks different than what society has told us it looks like? Because without the shame, without the guilt, that is where I like to hone in on is like we can be healthy and wellness can exist without, you know, restriction and hatred. And that goes for exercise too.
Mhm. Absolutely, and I think as someone who has an active lifestyle, works with people with very active
Same.
lifestyles,
Yeah.
we don't always learn, like, overtraining is real. Your behaviors can manifest in your movement. It's not always benign. Learning the art of slowing down, pausing, and trusting yourself outside of a workout, right? Like, that's still a piece of
Yes.
how we wanna heal. You said something that really stood out to me. You talked about listening to your body, and I think that, yes, we're talking about, like, body diversity and, like, all of those pieces, but I also think we're talking about regardless of how you look, what your story is with how you feel about how you look, I do think we all have learned far too well how to dissociate. We've all learned how to leave the body.
Yes.
Like you talked about how much when there's no escaping. And there is a way that I think we psychologically escape to the best of our abilities. And what we're
Yeah.
talking about sometimes is like we stopped listening to and being, literally being in our bodies. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? You do so much really powerful trauma work. Can you tell us about what it means to be in the body, out the body? And like, how can we start to get back into our bodies?
Yes. Oh, such a good question. Yeah, I want us to like please jump in too. Like let's chat about it. So yes, I am a trauma embodiment eating disorder therapist. And so I think first off recognizing that our relationship with our bodies can come from trauma. And I want to be clear, trauma is not always the biggest, baddest, worst thing that could ever happen to you. And I think that that can I see that a lot, especially in the Black community of like, well, oh, nothing's happened to me or I'm fine. Like, you know, no one's done X, Y, or Z to me or whatever it is. And it's like, hmm. So there's something there that's protecting you from believing that whatever you experienced was that bad. Quote, I use that in air quotes because if we're protected from the reality of what we're experiencing, we don't have to feel the pain. We don't have to feel what has happened or the gravity of the situation can be lessened. And I honor that protection that our nervous system does for us. I don't I don't want to rush through that with my clients because if your brain and body are not to the point where it can say, "Hey, this I experienced this. This was hard," then we don't have to rush it. That's okay. But I see that happen oftentimes when it comes to, this topic. And so, and there's this, I don't want to be in my body because that doesn't feel safe. I honor that. I don't think we have to push, but there are going to be times where being aware of our bodies or like, you know, even as simple as I have to try on a new dress for a wedding or I have to, you know, buy a new piece of clothing. I need to go to the doctor for my physical and I'm going to see my weight, right? Things that like life things that happen where they require us to be more in our body can become difficult when we've spent this time disengaging. So, um, I always encourage people take it slow.
Mhm.
And, you know, being in your body doesn't always have to be like standing in the mirror and looking and being like, okay, I'm gonna, people, right? Like, I don't have to sit there and stare at myself and nitpick myself, but noticing what we're feeling, checking in, focusing on our breath, talking to somebody how we're feeling about how we're feeling, and just creating safe environments as much as we can. And honoring, and this last part I'll say about it, and I want you, Kaylin, to jump in, but honoring the dissociation when it needs to happen, because sometimes our bodies and our brains are checking out because we need it.
Mhm.
And that's okay. If you need a little TikTok scroll moment because you need to check out, same, you know?
Right.
And we don't have to put that pressure of like, oh, I should be doing this. No, no, no. Like sometimes we need those moments. Now, of course, there's balance, but in understanding too that sometimes being present with our bodies is hard because of how we feel towards our bodies, and that's understandable. Just so much compassion and
Yeah.
care for ourselves.
Yeah. Absolutely. Compassion. That's like the word. That's such a big word for me that feels so important because what we're talking about is almost like the warfare that your body's been through in terms of criticism, ostracism, discrimination, humiliation, like all of these things that your body that like that's what your body's been protecting you from. That's what your body
Yes.
doesn't want you to feel and not have the capacity to hold. And so even outside of, trying to have a 1-2 step around like this is how I'm supposed to feel my feelings or this is how I'm supposed to that's why we don't love the body positivity thing because something about that can also feel really invalidating. Like it's okay if you
Yes.
probably don't feel super proud of a body that went through a lot, right? That maybe you need a minute
Absolutely.
before you can actually like sit with this body and feel, like I am woman, hear me roar. Like, and I want that for you. We all want that
Right.
for all of us. And it's okay if it takes a minute. Cause then you start to feel ashamed of your shame. Like, and it just like you said earlier, so it can be a
Ripple.
spiral.
Mhm.
But when you can offer compassion, I just think that's a door to so much of this. Like when you can really sit with seeing yourself and holding space for like,
Mm.
this is real.
Mm.
What I feel is real. What I need is real, valid, and important. Then I think it becomes easier to start those baby steps that you just talked about toward getting back in the body and being able to go through those moments and see the little progress. It's so funny that you say that because I
Yes.
quite literally just tried on a bridesmaid's dress because,
I
I'm
was
just
thinking
did
of like a
that.
bridesmaid's dress.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh
Yeah.
my
Like that
gosh.
literally is, I just did that earlier this week.
How
And
wait, how yeah, how was that for you? Like, was it anything?
so two snits. So this company, I don't have any sponsorships. I won't say company's
Yeah,
name,
don't
but
no
what
free.
I
Don't do
did,
that. Not for free, honey.
not yet. But what I did love
Period.
about it is they did have try on dresses. So I actually already tried on the sizes before this dress came.
Perfect. And that's a great
But
tool.
this is so great. Like it was nice that I could have already gone through that and I ordered the size that made sense to me. But it still was
Oh,
anxiety provoking when the dress
mhm.
showed up. So a
Yes.
couple things I did is I didn't, well, this is partly because of my procrastination. I didn't try it on right away. I was like, I'm gonna let it sit there in that box for a little bit. I have 30 days
Yeah,
to
let it
return it.
marinate.
So and I picked a day of the week where I was tired enough to where I probably wasn't gonna have as much energy to give to whatever feeling I had after, not because I wanted to completely disconnect from it, but because I knew that there would be other priorities in my brain, such as sleeping. right?
Period.
And
Absolutely.
it
Yes.
was it was almost like I was if you think about, like, the nervous system, which maybe we should do another one on the nervous system.
Yes.
There's when you're too activated and then when you're not activated enough to put in layman's
Uh-huh.
terms. And I recognize that that's probably about as good in the middle as I could get to where I wouldn't go through maybe some collapse, but I also
Uh-huh.
maybe wouldn't end up in my fight or flight. So I was tired enough, but I was also awake enough to kind of be able to just do it. I was listening to music. I had surrounded myself with other sensory inputs so that however I felt in this dress, w I know I could put it in its own corner. So and Harani talked about creating safe
Yes.
environments. Sometimes that's your safe environment. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you're gonna have, like, a crowd of people who are gonna be cheering you on, but you might have the right level of energy and the right music in the background, right? Like, that might be your safety, and
Yes.
I put the dress on. It fit. I still need to get some alterations, and I was like, "Okay. Alright. That's it.
That's it.
I'm
And
going
it
to
was
take it
fine.
off now. It's
Uh-huh.
over." And I want a name that it took decades for me to be able to do that. Like, that was not something that I just, could
Right.
do. There were
Right.
versions of me before that was trying on my new competition uniform, and it was a whole 'nother dance. So,
Mm.
I wanna hold space for, like, this is our life's
So
work.
much. This is our life's work. I love thank you for sharing that because it's so important to name that it took you that's a sign of progress for you and it took you a while to get there. There might have been a version of you, and I'm thinking back on versions of me, and I don't want to like pinpoint
Mhm.
this. I don't want to speak on your experience, but that if I knew I had to do a bridesmaid dress or some type of form, that I would have like worked on losing weight before that. Like I have to be at a certain. There's
Uh-huh.
no like this body, and it don't even matter what body it was. Oh, okay, so I need to be right and tight, and what am I gonna do to make sure that when this
Mhm.
time comes, I've lost weight? Even if, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
It
I
ain't
was
even
already
your
at my goal.
wedding.
It ain't even my wedding. And then when it was my wedding, when I did get married, I've been married almost 7 years now. I would
Mhm.
say I started my journey right or after, but, like, before the wedding.
Uh-huh.
I was, "Oh, okay, I have to lose weight." Why?
Mhm. Why?
Why? Didn't
Why?
he fall in love with me in this body? You know what I'm saying? I
In
look
that
this
body.
like this, you know? I mean, I will never forget where the seamstress for my wedding dress was like, "Don't lose my weight. Why what are you doing? Like, this dress is not gonna fit you." And I was like, "Oh," this was one of the first times somebody in the wedding industry, because that's a whole other topic,
Mhm.
but somebody in the wedding
Mhm.
industry was like, "You know you don't have to do this, right? What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I could just be."
Right.
So I was, oh, I felt free, free.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, "Okay, I'm gonna eat." Whatever, I just felt free.
Right.
But I've had clients bring bridesmaid dresses or certain clothing to session,
Mhm.
and then I'll,
I
like,
love
of course,
that.
I'll step out, they'll try it on, and then, like, I will come in and we'll sit in, the support of, "Hey, wear it in here with me. Does that feel safe? Let's work through it." Or sometimes just have it in the room. I've helped
Mhm.
clients order sizes, like, therapy
Mm.
is so much more. I
Yes.
want our fellow I mean, everybody to hear this, but especially for Black women, like, therapy is so much more than just talking to somebody, like, if you find the right
Yes.
therapist when I tell you we are in the trenches with y'all, bring the bridesmaid
Yes.
dress. I'm talking about big ol' help them get it from the car, "Come on, bring it in."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Bring
you
it
know,
in.
bring it in and try it
In more
on, I'll
ways than
step
one,
out.
bring it in here with
Bring
us.
it in. Do we just need to
Mm.
sit in here and talk about what it represents? I've had people bring their scale, like, their scales to
Yes.
session. I've had people bring so what you said just so resonates of like,
Mm.
uh, we sometimes we need to create the safety that we desire
Yeah.
until we can
Oof.
create it for ourselves.
Mm. Mm.
And
Mm.
yeah, so it
Oof.
doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be a therapist you do that with. I've
Mm-mm.
encouraged clients to be like, okay, you need new clothes. Try and close on as hard, or you're nervous about the invite your friends over.
Mhm.
Have some, whatever food makes you feel comfortable, or
Mhm.
whatever drink, like, make it fun and try on with your best girlfriends that you feel safe with,
Yeah. Yes.
Anyways, all of that to say, I love how you created that for yourself, but sometimes we need people to help us. So,
And I did along the way. I had a lot of people and I just
yes.
this is just so beautiful. I feel emotional now because
Oh,
of the level of relational attunement you just brought in. And we
yes.
always think about doing this in silos. Like I do love the work when you sit in the mirror and you look at your body and you
Of course.
cry, like I love that. It was like ground zero for like body image work, right? But I
Yeah.
also love when you are literally saying someone could bring to you some of the hardest moments in their day that other
Yes.
people don't notice is a hard moment, and you could be there with them through it.
Absolutely. And I don't know if any therapists are listening, but I encourage therapists think outside the box. They didn't teach us in grad school
Mhm.
that we could have people bring their bridesmaids or wedding dresses to session. But if it's
Mhm.
hard, I want to do it with you. And I want Black
Mhm.
women to have people in their life. Oh my gosh, I'm emotional too. Like, I want
Mhm.
Black women to have people in their lives who say, I want to do it with you, whether it's your
Yeah.
therapist, whether it's your best girlfriends, your sisters. Like, I have people in my life personally
Mhm.
that I'm so grateful that will say, let's do it. I tell my clients all the time, I may say this every single day at work. Let's do it together. Like, let's do it together because when we go together, we're going to go farther. You're going to hopefully feel safer. And so let's do it together. And I want women, especially Black women, to have that in your relationship with your body and food and movement and how you feel about yourself. Because we could even say self love. I know that's a popular, but how you feel about yourself. You don't have to do that by yourself. Like, let's do
Mhm.
it together. Whether that's listening to podcasts like this,
Mhm.
coming alongside our public platforms. I try to create that
Yes.
environment in my social media. I know you do too. Black
Yes.
Girl Scene is literally like about that.
Yeah.
And then in your personal lives, like, let's do it together. I don't know. That just really resonates with me. And as you were talking,
I
yeah.
love that because, I mean, we can't do it alone, and I think that's where
Mm,
some of the cultural and the racism comes in. We were taught that you had to
yes.
do things alone, but we get hurt in
Yeah.
relationship, we heal in relationship, period. Like, I really
Absolutely.
love what you said. It's like the journey is long, but it doesn't have to be lonely.
Oh, yes. That's it right there. Yes.
That's
Let's do it
mm.
together. I need to get that tattooed on my like, I say it so
I know.
much. I mean,
I love that. Can you turn it into, like, a
yeah.
T-shirt or, like, a sticker so I could buy
Oh, I
it?
love okay, we gonna have to I need some merch now.
Oh,
See? Oh,
yeah.
yes. Yes, you're gonna get the first T-shirt, sis. Don't
I love
worry.
it. I love it. I really
Yeah,
literally love it.
I love
Oh,
it too.
I love
Yeah.
it.
It's so important. And what you said, especially as Black women, we have to do it by ourselves. Like, to be soft enough. There's a softness that does not always feel safe that comes with allowing somebody to do something so vulnerable with you. Allowing someone to even know how I feel about myself and my body. Do we talk about that? It's just like there's a softness that we don't always feel able to give because Black women, like, are we allowed to be soft? Are we gonna get walked all over? But, do we have to be these strong versions of ourselves? And there's so much strength and softness too. And so it's like, yeah, we need each
Yes.
other. We need each other
Yes.
in our relationships with our bodies and ourselves and how we feel about how we look and ourselves and our relationship with
Mhm.
food and movement is no
Mhm.
exception. We need each
Right.
other. So
Absolutely. Oh, I could go on and on
me
days
too, girl. We
about
preaching today. We in it. Like,
I
we could
just
talk about uh,
listen, listen. But speaking of forever too, like you brought up such a great point too, because the body we have today is not the body we had yesterday. It is not going to be the body we had tomorrow. We're going to go through so many iterations of life. For some of us who choose to become moms, we're going to go through what that looks like. For some of us who are, I don't think I don't always position it, but when I say Black girl scene, Black woman scene, I'm talking about all women. I'm talking about trans women, trans girls as well. So there may be changes in
absolutely.
how that body looks.
Hmm.
You are going to age, if the goal is to
Yes.
keep on living, you will age, right? So we don't always talk about like that is why just liking a body is not enough for this reparative work with your body because your body is going to change.
Is going to change. It might change some tomorrow.
Right.
And we might try to control it, but you just never know. And what came up for me too, because you mentioned a lot of different ways, but also with athletes, injury
Mhm.
happens.
Injuries happen.
And not only with athletes, like,
Mhm.
everybody.
We're not
I had
even
an
current
injury.
athletes because
Yeah, thank you. Period. I
us
could be in the
us
gym, knock on wood, but
exactly.
we
Oh,
athletes
yeah,
in our
you're
own.
an athlete. Yes.
Thank you. No, but, like, it changes with our hair, with our skin, like, even
Mhm.
having I mean, everything. So,
Hair.
yeah, and you spoke to, being a mom, like, I have an 8-month-old,
Mhm,
and, the body I have today is not the body I had last year. It's not the body I had
mhm,
yesterday. It's not the
mhm.
body I had 8 months ago before I had him, and there's a lot there. I think that's a whole other thing, but yeah, so I think that understanding is just something I really, like, try to hone in on is that this body is our home, and how we take care of our home is so important. And, whether I'm not even saying like own a home, but just like your place that you live, this body is the place that I live, and I only get one. I only get one. And I
Yeah.
don't want to put holes in my home.
Mhm.
I don't want my home to be the paint is cracked and I refuse to take care of it. I don't want to, you know, abandon or neglect my
Mhm,
home because I hate it and I don't like the way it looks. I
mhm,
want it, whether or not it's my favorite place to live, I want
mhm.
it to know that I care for it. I want to invest, right? I wanna decorate, in ways
Mhm.
that feel good because 'cause I'm all for getting my hair done, I'm all for nails, skincare, whatever, and I want to put care and love into it because it's where I reside every day, and
Yeah,
because she working for me. My body
right.
has carried me through. This home has carried me
Yes.
through so many things. Even if I don't love the way she looks,
Mhm,
she deserves some honor and respect
mhm,
for everything that she's walked through.
mm.
And I felt that way even before I had a baby. You don't have to have had a child for your body to have walked you through everything. I tell my clients, your body walked you into therapy. One of the bravest things somebody could do, those legs. I have clients who work in healthcare. I said, your body, those arms revived somebody in CPR the other day. Like, what? Those arms hug your loved ones. They hold hands. They open doors, quite literally for people, so, and we can go on and on. And so I don't even know how we got to this topic, but
Well, you and then you
you
you know,
know,
you making me I'm crying on the inside,
me
because I
too.
am, because this morning I was on the
Yeah.
treadmill in my little workout class, whatever. Because I just for me, that is how I give back to my body, is moving it. I have no
Yes,
other
same,
goals but to move it and feel strong.
same.
And I remember I was like, the treadmill was like right in front of the mirror. And I remember looking, and I was like, these legs used to tumble. Like, I was like, I used to tumble because on the treadmill, I'm literally like, oh, I want to get off of this treadmill. This is quite exhausting.
Yes.
But it wasn't like a, oh my gosh, I used to do this. I used to be, it was more like, I'm proud of these legs moving right now because what it went through, tumbling on concrete, dead mat, spring floors, all
A
kind of
lot.
weather throughout the years, over and over
Oof.
again, and they
Tired just hearing it.
still right, back hurting, knees aching, and I'm like,
Yeah,
and they're still helping me move. We good. It's okay that I feel
absolutely.
tired. It's okay that I'm moving slower than I used to. I'm just thank you. And
Absolutely.
I hear you, because it's so easy to reach for where we feel like we're lacking, and that's not our voice.
Mhm.
Those are those other voices of harm, of
Mhm.
hurt, of invisibility. The real voice in there is full of acknowledging the absolute magical ways that our bodies and the spirits that occupy it, the people in it,
Yeah.
what we do and how much we deserve our flowers.
100%. I love that because, and like you said, your
Mhm,
body, the body you have today is not the body that was
mhm.
tumbling
Oh, no, it ain't.
because, and I'm not trying to speak on your body, sis, but it's just not because,
No,
years ago, it's just not the
she's
same.
aged, she's aged.
Let me tell you something. If I tried to take my behind out there to try to play basketball right now, me and the ball will be rolling on the court.
Look at me and Oh,
Have
yes.
like I am not, it doesn't mean I'm not healthy, but our bodies
Right.
change. And that's
Just
the thing, our bodies are supposed to change. I
they're
think that
supposed to
part
change.
gets left out. We're not supposed to
Yes.
have the bodies we had 10, 12, even a year ago. It's supposed to change. I'm not saying that you're supposed to, necessarily lose or gain weight or whatever all the time, but like, that's not for me to decide, but our bodies are supposed to change. So yes, I am with you. And I love to recognize for people, that, those legs walked out of that relationship. Like, those arms held your child, your niece, your nephew for the first time. Wow. I love I said to a friend recently, who told me that she was like, "I just hate my arms, like, Arnie, I hate my arms today." And I was like, "I love those arms, they give me such great hugs."
Mhm.
She like started crying. I was like, "Girl, I'm crying
Mhm.
with you." You
Mhm.
know, she was like, "I feel
Mhm.
so much." She was like, "That is so
And
beautiful."
she
And I was
felt
like, "Yes."
seen. And she felt
Yeah, and
seen.
I was so honored to be able to
Mm.
do that and for her and to be able to hold that space of,
Ugh,
like, because
me too.
nobody is, because 'cause I'm not thinking about your arms that way, girl, you got be like, you have strong arms, and that's it, you know? So, there's just so much there. I feel like we could talk forever about it.
And I just something else
Yeah.
that came up to me that I also think we didn't name plainly, and I hope we and I think it was carried in the message too. I see those of us who have chronic illness and disabilities and different
Yes.
abilities because I'm hearing the list of things that we're talking about. And again, like we might be talking about specific functions and parts of the body. And ultimately, we're talking about a body living, surviving, and thriving in a world like this. So I want to name that for my Black girls who may not, maybe they don't use their arms and maybe they're using something
Yep.
differently. And you are just as, if not more impactful. Like, so I wanted to name that too. And I appreciate that what we're also talking about is this goes so much beyond the size, the shapes, all of these pieces. It goes so far beyond that because when you think about it, there is no standard. We are humans
Mhm.
in a vessel, in a home,
Mhm.
showing up, doing what we
Absolutely.
can, doing what we
Absolutely.
can. So
And
I
I'm
love
so
what
glad you
you
named
said.
that.
Uh, and I just
I'm
love,
so
and I
glad
feel,
you
but
named
I
that.
feel it. I feel it. I feel it coming through this conversation. Like so much acknowledgement
Yeah.
and compassion
Yeah.
for all of us. Yeah.
So much compassion. I'm so glad you named, making sure we're including as everyone in as much as we can and recognizing those with chronic illness. And this is, and I will name this too. And I know that our time is probably coming up soon. So I think that this is a whole other conversation, but you bringing that up made me think. So there is also a level to our relationship with our bodies when we feel like our body is not able to do the thing that we think it's supposed to be doing or society
Right.
thinks it's supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
So, like you mentioned, chronic illness, so difficult when it's like, I just want to be
Mhm.
able to function and go to work and, live
Mhm.
my life, but I feel this way. Why isn't my body, how am I supposed to like a body that is not even working for me? And my journey, like I can talk about that another time, but, with fertility and getting pregnant, or I want to give that little trigger warning, with pregnancy loss or
Mhm.
infertility, that's a whole nother thing. So there are moments where it's like, so you want me to like this body, or even as athletes with injury,
Yes. Yeah,
um, it's not
absolutely.
doing what I want to do, you know? So
Mhm.
I wanna name that for the people listening to this and know that that's a whole separate conversation, but we see you. And I'm so
Yeah.
glad. Thank you, Kaylin, for mentioning that because that's a
Yeah.
really important part. We wanna make sure
Yeah.
people feel heard in that too.
Yeah, yeah, and thank you for sharing a little bit more
Yeah.
about the things that you and your body have been through. I appreciate that too, and I'm just so I feel so warm because I just feel like this
Yeah.
whole conversation feels like a big hug, and to round it out, because like, I feel like what you said to your client, like, "Imma take that with me." Like, that was
Yes.
so that was so
Please do.
sweet. What else would you say to the Black girl who has been hiding in or from her body but wants to be seen?
Oh, I wanna say so much. I wanna hug them. Well, to the Black girl who is hiding in her body and wants to be seen, you are worthy of safe places to be seen, that you do not have to hide unless it's what feels safest to you. But when you're ready, we're here. We have open arms and you don't have to do it alone. I'd want the Black girl who is hiding from her body but wants to be seen to know that there is another way.
Mm,
That doesn't have to be that way. And that when she's ready, we got her. And that
yeah,
she's worthy of people who say that to her. Because so many times we didn't know that there was another way, but just stay ourselves, you know, to the Black girl who hates their body right now, or hates the way that they look or hates themselves. Those messages are oftentimes coming from a place that wasn't your fault in the first place.
yeah.
That shame and guilt
Mhm.
oftentimes comes with things that are untrue.
Yes.
So, and they're
Yeah.
worthy and they're not alone.
Mhm.
And my hope is that they find safe places where they can be and explore healing, even if those are just online communities, right? Whatever, or even if that's the minimum, they're so worthy of that. they're so worthy of that. So I think that that's what I would say. I know, so much love. I was just like, big hug. Yeah.
I love it.
I
I
love it.
love it. I
Me
love
too.
it. No, literally, this is not the end. This is the end of this episode, but this is by far not the end of our conversations on this space because I literally actually feel like I feel so light even just after
Yeah.
listening to
Healing for me
you.
too.
Ugh,
Healing
oh
for
my
me too to talk
goodness.
about it with you, in
Yes.
this safe space that we
Yeah.
have together,
Yeah.
is so healing for Black women to come together, just be
Mhm.
able to be Black,
Yes.
to be able to be
Just be
healed,
Black, a woman in love. Yes. No,
yeah,
yes.
and loved and seen. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And
Oh,
thank you so much for listening, everyone. If you enjoyed this episode, which I know you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and rate the podcast. And check out the show notes. You're going to find some links on how you can connect with Herani and stay connected with her, as well as to subscribe to the Scene Sunday newsletter, where I share a couple more tidbits about every episode and I let you know when the next one drops. And so, as we said, to the Black girl who is leaning into the beautiful, sacred work of seeing yourself fully in your body with fresh eyes, we see you and we hope that you feel loved in the ways that heal. Take care. Thanks for tuning in to the Black Girl Scene podcast. This podcast is meant for information purposes only and is not meant to substitute for medical advice. Although I'm a licensed therapist, this podcast does not establish a clinical relationship with you, the listener, nor does it replace a relationship with a licensed mental health professional. For more information and resources on finding a therapist or support, please visit www.blackgirlscene.com/support.